Hello and welcome to Techonomics Explained. I am your host Hari Shankar. Today I am going to tell you about one of the most important geopolitical shifts of this decade, a development that most people are completely missing. For years, when we talked about Israel's biggest enemies, we instantly thought of Iran, Hamas, or Hezbollah. But today, Israeli media and analysts are saying something shocking. Turkey is emerging as Israel's biggest long-term strategic threat. And this is not just political rhetoric. This is now shaping military alliances, economic warfare, NATO politics, and even India's strategic positioning. Why Turkey is now in Israel's crosshairs? Under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey is no longer behaving like a traditional NATO ally. Erdogan openly supports the Muslim Brotherhood, anti-Israel narratives across the Muslim world. Turkey is also trying to project itself as the successor of the Ottoman Empire, an empire that once ruled Israel, Greece, Cyprus, and much of the Middle East. Israeli analysts believe that Turkey is trying to recreate regional dominance, not by tanks, but by political Islam, soft power, drone diplomacy, influence over Pakistan, Qatar, Libya, and parts of Africa. The secret summit that changed everything. Recently, Israel's prime minister held a three-nation strategic summit with Cyprus. This meeting was not symbolic. It was a warning shot aimed directly at Ankara. Israeli officials clearly said, any nation dreaming of rebuilding empires and dominating our region should forget it. We are prepared. For the first time, Turkey was openly named, indirectly, as a threat in Israeli strategic doctrine. Why Greece and Cyprus hate Turkey? Turkey occupies northern Cyprus till today. Greece and Turkey have almost gone to war multiple times over. Airspace violations, maritime borders, gas fields in the Mediterranean. Now Turkey is drilling for gas in waters claimed by Greece and Cyprus, and escorting its ships with warships. Israel, Greece, and Cyprus all share one fear. Turkey wants control over the eastern Mediterranean. How Israel plans to weaken Turkey. Israeli think tanks openly say that Turkey must be economically weakened, diplomatically isolated, gradually pushed out of NATO. Turkey's currency, the lira, has already collapsed brutally over the last decade. Foreign investors are leaving. Inflation is crushing the middle class. Israel understands that economic warfare breaks regimes without firing a bullet. The NATO strategy. Turkey's biggest shield is NATO membership. But Turkey bought Russian S-400 missile systems, angering the US. As a result, 35 jets were blocked. Turkey was sidelined from Western defense supply chains. Israeli analysts believe that by 2030, Turkey could be forced out of NATO, or NATO itself may fragment into a European defense bloc without Turkey. Once Turkey loses Article 5 protection, it becomes extremely vulnerable. India's role in this power game. India today has very deep defense partnerships with Cyprus. India and Israel co-develop weapons. India and Greece conduct joint naval drills. India supports Cyprus diplomatically against Turkish occupation. Turkey made a huge mistake by openly siding with Pakistan against India. That single decision turned New Delhi away from Ankara permanently. What Turkey fears most. Turkish defense reports now openly talk about the risk of a two-front war. Greece in the west, Israel in the south. Add Cyprus and Turkey faces a nightmare triangle. This is why Turkey is desperately trying to upgrade its air force, but sanctions, currency collapse, and NATO pressure are blocking them. The long game. This is not about war tomorrow. This is about the next 20 years. Israel is playing the long game, choking Turkey financially, isolating Erdogan diplomatically, painting Turkey as an authoritarian rogue state, forcing regime change from within. If Erdogan stays, Turkey weakens. If Erdogan goes, Turkey becomes pro-West again. Either way, Turkey loses strategic autonomy. Conclusion. What we are witnessing is not a conflict. It is a silent geopolitical siege. And for the first time in decades, Turkey is no longer the hunter. It has become the hunted. This is Hari Shankar for Techonomics Explained. See you in the next deep dive.